Good morning, AMP family. What is going on? What is going on? Welcome back to another day of the AMP daily analysis. This is actually number 20. We're going strong. We're going strong. Today is July 3rd. It is currently 9:30 a.m. in the morning where I'm located on the East Coast. But, without further ado, let's hop on in and, deep dive into our technicals to see what we have going on. So, right now we do still see, AMP currently, respecting this huge trend line. It's always good to extend your trend lines because you never know where the markets can go. So, yesterday on the 2nd, it looked like we were pretty much going to close below our trend line. But, at the end of the day, we did see a huge spike up, right? We saw a huge jump up. And we actually had a high of 0.062 cents yesterday and ended up closing above our trend line, right? For those who can't see, I can just zoom in just a little bit. And you can see that we did close above our trend line. So, and the way that we can tell this is by understanding how to read the candlestick. So, we're focused on this candle right here, which is the candle from yesterday. So, we have our high right here, we have our low, and because this is the black candle, or for somebody who didn't customize their trading view stats yet, this will be a green candle. But we have our open body right here, and we have our close right here. So we actually did close above this, which is pretty good. And right now, looking at today's candle, it may be a little bit hard to see. It's right here. It's literally floating on our trend line today, right? It looks as if we're going to form another doji, right? Because right here we have a bullish doji, which is signaling to us that a reversal is on the way. And right now, we have another doji forming. Right now, the sellers are currently in control of this candlestick, but by understanding the structure of this, we know that they currently cannot push the price down any further, right? So this is pretty bullish in my opinion. Now, because we do have more data on the screen, right? Like all good traders, it's always good to, assess what you've drawn previously. And previously we drew this falling wedge, right? Falling wedge, we knew that we were going to bounce out and possibly retest the 0.055 level, which is our support. And we actually did, right? And I said that we could have something along the lines of this, right? Sort of fall below, maybe come back on it, and then move up and move sideways for a little bit, all the way until July 28th, right? That's very possible. But because we do have more data on the screen, right? We just want to make sure that we look at all cases, right? All case scenarios. So I will remove what I previously drew for the falling wedge and take out my drawing tool again, cut on my magnet, and we can actually see that, it looks like we are forming what some might call a bearish pennant, right? Some may call this a bearish pennant, which is pretty much this, right? So we have a major downfall, and then we come up. We have our automatic reaction, which is a move to the upside, but then we're hit with this resistance line again, and we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, until we come to the end of the triangle, which is our apex, and then we would have a move to the downside, right? We would have a breakdown. So it does resemble that, right? We have this huge downfall, and then we come up, then we come down, then we come up, then we come down, and we are already at the end of the apex if this structure was true, right? If this structure was true, we are at the end of the apex already, but we haven't falling to the downside, right? So it's very possible that this could also be a fake out. It could be a bear trap, right? For anybody that's bearish about AMP, this could be a bear trap where the people who are controlling the markets, the market makers, right? They want you to sell your bags for the simple fact of having you miss out on, a possible move to the upside. So, again, if we do fall to the downside of this, right, I expect us to fall a little bit lower, possibly retest the trend line, and then we would come down to maybe the 5 cent mark, 0.05, like right on the dot, before breaking down a little bit further to, the 0.038 level, right, which is where our previous support line is right now, right? So it is very possible that could happen. And again, I'm gonna mark it up just so you guys can see what would happen if this was a bear trap, right? So if this was a bear trap, of course, the controllers are expecting people to sell here, right? And then what will happen is we'll move up, and then just continue to move to the upside, retesting our 0.078 level, or we could just completely blast off, right? That's also very possible with this bearish pennant structure that we're seeing right now. It is being respected. We have 1, 2, 3 touches on this line, right? But just going back to our falling wedge structure, we actually have 4 touches on that one, right? So I'll put that on the screen as well, just so you guys can understand what's going on here, right? We came down to here, and we're going to extend this, and then we're going to cut on our magnet, and we started from up here, right? We have this, boom, right? So we have 4 touches on the falling wedge support line and resistance line, but on our bearish pennant, we had 3 touches on the upside, right? We had 3 touches on this resistance line for the bearish pennant. So, which one is stronger? In my opinion, the one that has more touches. More touches gives us the confirmations, right? We have 4 touches on the falling wedge, on both the support line and the resistance line, but we only have 3 touches on the bearish pennant, right? So, time will tell what's going to happen with this. The daily view is definitely the time frame to keep your eye on, right? If you're looking at this market, right, if you want to study what's going on day to day. So I'm going to leave that blank because I already know what could possibly happen, and I'm just going to put some text on the screen, right? We could have a possible falling wedge or bearish pennant, right? And I'm just going to leave that there because we don't know which way it's going to play out. We just have to be a little bit patient and see what's going to happen, right? So that's what we have going on the daily. Now let's move in and take a look at the 4 hour. The 4 hours where it gets a little interesting, right? And I say interesting because we have continuously bounced off of our 0.055 support level, right? And yesterday we had this huge wick up at the end of the day, right? So the psychology of the market, right? You just have to understand what's going on right here. Who has the power to push markets up like this, right? Either retail once news breaks and the public reacts, or institutional money or smart money, right? They have the power to drive price up like this also, right? So if you sold 4 hours before yesterday's daily candle closed, then guess what? You sort of fell into this bear trap, right? If you were thinking that, oh my God, AMP is going down, and you sold anywhere along these levels, then you fell for the bear trap, right? Because price broke out, it just shot up to the upside, peaking at 0.062 cents, and now we're still floating sideways, right? Again, we have this bullish crab harmonic structure, right? We are still moving sideways. I said that we would be moving sideways for quite some time, right? But again, we have this market structure playing out. And I know that we're in a accumulation phase because again, we're moving sideways. So just so y'all can see how this is playing out, I'm going to draw this rectangle here. Boom. Make sure that this is only available to view on our hours, right? And this is what you call a market structure forming, right? So I'm going to make this background a little bit more transparent. But you know, this is what you call a market structure forming, and also a consolidation zone, right? And I say this is a consolidation zone because if you study some of the theories involved in trading, you will know that after a huge move to the downside like this, we have our automatic reaction, and you know, we're moving sideways. We see these big spikes in buying volume, right? Who's buying this, right? Again, we have to understand who has the power to really put in these big buying levels, right? What happened here? The public probably reacted, but we have, you know, buying volume of 32 million right here. We have buying volume of 33 million. And then, you know, yesterday we have buying volume of 38 million. So, you know, is it really the public buying here, or is it smart money or institutions? In my opinion, it is the institutions, you know, mixed with the retail, but primarily institutions driving that buy volume up, right? And you know, if we just move over to, you know, the Wyckoff theory of distribution and accumulation, we have been in an accumulation phase for AMP, especially on the 4 hour, right? So, you know, we have the selling climax. That's what happened. We're moving sideways, but you know, we have these different phases, and because we fell below our 0.055 level, just briefly yesterday, I personally think that was the spring, and we can see these accumulation patterns happening across many different cryptocurrency pairs, right? So just so y'all can follow me a little bit, I'm going to put, you know, the phases of what I'm seeing right now for, you know, this accumulation. So I put AR, which is our automatic reaction, right? Right here, this is our selling climax, SC. Make sure this is only visible on the 1 hour. Yeah, today we're going a little bit more in depth. So just bear with me. I promise you the video won't be too long, y'all. All right, so we have our huge selling climax. We have our automatic reaction. Right here, we have our upward thrust, or we're going back up. And right here, we have our secondary test. So we came down and we tested support, right? ST, our secondary test. And then we fell below right here. So I think this is our spring, right? SPRING. This may be our spring. And now I think we're looking for our line of preliminary support, right? Preliminary support was right here. Almost forgot that one. Preliminary support right here, and that's ironically at the end of this bullish crab structure, right? So I think that after we have a pullback right here, this would be our line of preliminary support. And then as we move up, right? As we move up and we get to the 0.062 level, if we can close above that, this will be our sign of strength. So, you know, this is my personal opinion. This is what I think is going on with AMP right now. We've been in this huge accumulation phase for roughly around, let's measure that and see. Date range, we've been in this accumulation phase for roughly around, let's get this working right, roughly around 40 days. I'm sorry, 40 bars, which would be 6 days. Yeah, so we've been in this accumulation phase for about 6 days. And again, the longer we stay in these accumulation phases, the stronger the move to the upside, right? So, and we're still in it right now. So, we could stay in this accumulation phase for another week, or, we could continue to move to the upside at the start of next week, but time will tell. The interesting thing is that we see this same structure playing out on Bitcoin's chart. And we'll hop into that a little bit later. And again, just kind of looking at the 1 hour chart, we can see that, the same thing happening, but we can see that we have some additional secondary tests, right? So we have a secondary test right here. We did hit that 0.055 level again. We also have a secondary test right here, right? So we have two secondary tests going on. And I'll just remove those really quick. But yeah, that's what we have going on inside of AMP's intraday market, right? We have these market structures forming. And, depending on different theories that you study or look into, you will see this playing out exactly. And, I'll go up just a little bit more just so y'all can understand what normally happens, right? We have this downtrend, we have this accumulation phase, and then we have an uptrend, right? This is the Richard Wyckoff's accumulation theory. There's many different theories out there, but this is just the one that I'm focusing on primarily. So, that is AMP in a nutshell, following the technicals. The daily is definitely the strongest view, in my opinion. We have to see what's going to play out here, right? Is it going to be the falling wedge playing out, and we move to the upside, or is it going to be this bearish pennant playing out, and we possibly break down to the downside? Or is it, a bear trap where, the market controllers they want people to sell their bags, right? They want people to sell their assets, so that way they can drive price up and make them buy at higher levels. We don't know what's going to happen. Time will tell. But, in other news for AMP, boom, another listing. Congrats, AMP. You are moving remarkably, diligently, and swift, right? I don't see how news like this goes underneath the radar, being listed on Bittrex Global, right? Especially when Bittrex is ranked the 21st exchange on CoinGecko, I'm sorry, right? Although it is a centralized exchange, right? Just like Coinbase, where AMP is, they do an estimated volume of $87 million in 24 hours. And they have around 7 million plus users that visit their site each day. So, that's 7 million new people getting exposure to AMP, right? So, I think this is a great formula for bullish momentum in my case. You can't be bullish on everything, but, long term, I'm definitely bullish on AMP. And the fact that we are getting listed on Bittrex, right? That new listing is available for over 7 million users. That just gets me hype. In all cases, right? That just gets me hype. So I did mention that we would take a look at Bitcoin just briefly, and I will do that, right? Mainly because I made a comment yesterday about how we should close, right? I said that we needed to close yesterday's candle, which is the second. I said that we needed to close this candle as a bullish doji, right? Although we didn't close as a bullish doji, we did close as a bullish pin, right? And for bullish pins, for those of you who are sort of still learning about candle structures, bullish pins, they have these long wicks at the bottom, and that basically signals to us that there are bulls in the market, that there's buying pressure, that the bulls are ready to overtake the market and drive the price back up. right? And that's what we see going on with Bitcoin right now, right? It almost looks like we're forming a morning star formation, but the fact that we did have these bullish pens closed yesterday, that signals to me that we are going up. In addition to, again, applying the Wyckoff's theory of accumulation, right? I went over this briefly yesterday, and I'll do it again today, right? We see the same thing going on AMP. We had a downfall, right? We had our line of preliminary support at the $30,000 level. We had this automatic reaction. We have our secondary test going on. We fell below our support level with the secondary test, which is normal. And we had this spring action going up, right? Again, we had this bullish pen, right? Long wick. We went up and then we pulled back. What happened? We have another bullish pen, right? Long wick. We went up, we see a higher high, and then we pull back. What's happening? We have another bullish pen, right? So what can we only expect to happen? We should have a higher high. We should have a higher high. Again, I could be wrong. This could be a bear trap, Nobody knows the market 100%. Nobody can predict what's going to happen in the market 100%. Because if that was the case, then, I think we will all be rich and wealthy. But again, just understanding the technicals and looking deeper into, market theories, you can sort of understand or use the data to your best estimate to, make an educated guess about what's going to happen. And Bitcoin does have, quite a bit of good news also, right? So, one of the major concerns which really drove the price down was Elon's tweet about Bitcoin's power, right? And carbon rate, carbon footprint. And Elon has a real concern for the globe, right? The earth is where we are as humans, right? The human species, and we need to take better care of it. There's definitely a method to all of Elon's madness, and I do appreciate it. But, this article does say that according to the Bitcoin Mining Council, the global Bitcoin mining industry is now using 56% of sustainable energy, right? And that's just in half a year. Put that into perspective. That is only in 6 months. They're already using over 50% of sustainable energy. So, if you forecast that out to another 6 months, right, at this rate of switching to more sustainable energy sources to mine Bitcoin, I would, make an educated guess that, by the end of 2021, Bitcoin mining will be using 100% of sustainable energy sources. So, that's just my personal opinion. And also, one thing to really keep out, to really look at and keep on our radar is what's going on with Binance, right? So Binance is sort of following the same track as BitMEX, right? If you all know the story of BitMEX, the founder was pretty much on the run from the U.S. for quite some time. Although the exchange is still operational, they are not, the global leader as an exchange in the space of crypto anymore, right? And I think that Binance is following the same track. Regulators are definitely looking into Binance more and more and more. And, I think that in the foreseeable future, right, we could see an indictment for CZ. In that case, right, if CZ does get indicted, and if Binance does shut down, that will be pretty detrimental for crypto, mainly because Binance is the 7th ranked top exchange in the space of crypto that has over 10 million users, right? I don't know why. There we go. Now I can highlight it. That has over 10 million users and a 24 daily trading volume of over $316 million. I'm sorry. So, yeah, this is definitely one to keep an eye on. And that's just looking at the Binance US, right? If you look at Binance as a whole, it's the number one crypto exchange behind Coinbase, right? I think that would really, really, really hurt crypto if Binance does shut down. So again, guys, we just have to really, I wouldn't worry about this too much. If they can get in compliance with the regulators that are looking into them, I think that's a good sign. But if CZ does continue to move the way that he's moving, I think it's only a matter of time before we hear about a possible indictment. So we don't want this to happen. But at the same time, this is why DeFi is so important. We don't want the centralized point of failures in crypto at all. But there definitely should be a way for the two to complement each other. And by the two, I mean, centralization and decentralization, centralized entities versus decentralized entities. There should be a way for those two to coexist without, putting crypto at large at risk. So one to keep an eye out on, but definitely not one to worry about right now, right? So that brings us to the end of today's daily analysis. For all of those who are interested in following me more, definitely please follow everybody in the AMP token subreddit. Right, we do these daily posts every day, and I also put it on YouTube for those who may not be able to hear the volume on Reddit. Make sure you follow me on subreddit at Desire to Achieve. If you do like this content on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share, and also leave comments. And until tomorrow, y'all, peace out.